Let's begin with strategy. What is strategy? Strategy is a plan. You begin with the end in mind. There's two levels of strategy here. There's the overall life strategy. What do you want to achieve? Why do you want to achieve it? For example, for you, it might be you want to build a portfolio to replace your job in 18 months because you don't like your job and you want to spend more time with your family, or it could be you want to travel the world. And then how you're going to achieve it is the property investment strategy. Why is it so important to have an investment strategy, a property investment strategy? It keeps you laser focused. If you are like me, you have silver penny syndrome. I spot an opportunity and I will go and investigate it. So by having an investment strategy, it keeps me laser focused. It helps me get to my target or my goal quicker, and it also increases the chance of me getting there. So what are the different types of property investment strategies commonly out there? There's buy-to-lets, and there's HMOs, which is houses of multiple occupation. Buy-to-flip, where you take a property, add value to it, and then sell it on for a profit. There's service accommodation, where you don't have any tenants, but you have guests, rather like a hotel. And then there's rent to rent, where you don't acquire the property, you don't buy the property, but you lease the property, and then you use a higher cash flowing strategy to pay for the lease and have a profit. And that could be serviced accommodation or houses of multiple occupation. Which strategy you choose might depend on several factors. Firstly, it could be your personal preference. Now, some of you might like curries and some of you might like fish and chips. So your personal preference is important here. Secondly, it's whether you prefer passive or active investment. Buy-to-let is in its nature passive. What do I mean by passive? Once you get it all set up, you forget about it. Hopefully your tenant doesn't move out for years and years and years, and every month you just see the rent getting paid into your account. Active investment, like service accommodation, you could be having guests checking in and checking out every day, and you're taking orders every day. You're dealing with issues every day. So that's active investment. The third factor you need to consider is the entry barrier. That's the skill or level required. For HMOs, that's quite hard to get in because there's a lots of rules and regulations, whereas buy-to-let is on the other extreme, is a lot easier to get in. So fourth factor is how much time you've got. Maybe you're already working 80 hours a day, 80 hours a day, 80 hours a week, and you have a really good job. You don't have the time to do active investment. So you put your money aside and you start building your buy-to-let portfolio, and then you get to a point where you can reduce your hours that you work in your job. Now, you could be on the other extreme where you're only working part-time and you have lots of time on your hands, and then you might use the serviced accommodation strategy because you have lots of time. Now, another factor would be how much money you've got. By its very nature, HMOs requires bigger properties to make it work, so you need more money to acquire them. Whereas a buy-to-let is you require less money because it could be a smaller property, And rent to rent, you require even less money because you're just taking on a lease, and then you're maybe spending some money to refurbish it and customize it for what you want to use it for. Also, where you are based will also determine your property investment strategy. For example, if you live in Chelsea in London, where it's very affluent, it might be very hard for you to invest in buy-to-lets in your local area. You might need to go further afield. But it might be easier for you to do serviced accommodation on a rent-to-rent basis because it's that area where serviced accommodation will work. And finally, it's a combination of all those factors, and you have to decide what works for you. Hopefully, I've helped you cover strategy.